In this video, I'm going to completely change how you look at jumping in the park. And in order to go and change your pop so you can really go and start boosting up with maximum control and just getting the air like a pro snowboarder, we're going to do this with something called popping. That's when you fully utilize the tail of your snowboard in a way that doesn't hyperextend your body, letting you stay compact and in control. And this is how you can go and get the nice shifties and just really feel relaxed in your snowboard. First, let's address the biggest confusion when it comes to popping, and that is how it differs from an ollie. An ollie relies on using your full tail to go and spring off the jump. So your spring point is actually the tail of your snowboard instead of the lip of a jump. And this is why ollieing is perfect for small jumps, but it becomes less beneficial once the jumps have more kick and give you more options. But if I want to ollie something that has like no takeoff like this box, that's the perfect place to use it. The difference of a pop is you're relying on snapping off the jump, building tension by pushing through your board, and that makes you snap off. So instead of trying to ollie, I'm snapping. And that's why it doesn't really work on a bump like this, because there's nothing to snap me off. So when it's something like this, we want to go and pop off that tail. We're generating that pop through our snowboard, and that's how we're getting the height. But when we're popping off a jump, we're going in, pushing through, pushing into the snow, until our snowboard goes and snaps off that lip, getting that snap feeling. So that's the difference between ollieing and popping. Ollies, you're requiring to snap off your board, get that spring off the board, where pop, you're pushing off of it and relying on the angle of the feature to pop you into the air. So the way to think about popping isn't trying to go up and trying to lift yourself, extend, because that loses tension in your core. We're trying to go and push through so we can keep that little bit of bend and keep driven. So for something like this, we're going to go and try to drive our weight into our tail, and that's going to go and naturally lift us up and snap while using the full length of the snowboard. A really important part of the pop is your upper body positioning. If you just go and try to pop off your tail with keeping your upper body, you're going to land tail heavy every time. And this is where the rock motion comes in. We want to keep our core engaged and centered over our board, and as we go and pop over, we're going and bringing our upper body back to center. So it sort of looks like this. As we go and squat down to put pressure into the board, you lean to the back foot. And then as you go and extend up, you come back to center. So it's back foot, extend up, back to center. And that's what pulls you back in line with the jump. Because jumps are angled, you need to go and pull your body into it. You can think of this a lot like rolling a roller. You're coming up and you're trying to roll over, pump it, roll it, pump it, roll it. And we combine this with the angle of our upper body. When we're riding, we need to make sure our upper body is set over our toes, and that way when we go and pop and do this rock motion, we're keeping that center mass over the balls of our feet. And that's what lets us pop up while keeping our core engaged. If you go and pop up without going and keeping yourself stacked over, you're going to lose that control and that micro. So we want to be over and bring our legs up to us. That's the key to being in control in the air. You want to hold that stack position on the in run, through the transition, and pop up. And as you lift your legs up, you stay with your balance set on that point. So my body set over this point, and I have full range of motion through here. This is all adjusted, and then we use this to pop up and bring it in, lifting those legs, keeping that same center of balance. For a little roller here, we can just go off the tail slightly and see how that goes and gives me a bit of air time. We don't even need to pop that hard with the legs, just keeping that tail content will push you up. And then if we do want more snap, we can go up and ollie, and that'll give us control. So how I like to think of it, it's like pumping a roller. You're coming into the rollers, keeping your weight sent over your board so you can go rock up and over. Up and over. Up and over. And then we can add a little pop to that. Up and over, getting up and coming down. And that is the range of motion we're trying to fully utilize and maximize on every pop. On smaller features, you can go and just use a little bit of tail pressure and rock through that motion while shifting your upper body, and it'll keep you in control. So you don't need the biggest pops, the biggest motion to fully utilize this motion. And that's because your tail really does a lot for extending how much height you're going to get. Just by coasting off a tail, I can easily gap that to flat. And then as I add a little power to it, that's how we start going and popping. The biggest issue people have when trying to pop is trying to rush a motion and bring their legs up to them to get that extra bit of height. You really need to go and make sure that you're fully popping off that tail and letting the pop off your tail be the thing that brings you up. This usually happens when people try bringing to the grab, lifting their legs to them, but this is cutting your motion short, limiting your potential. This is also true for spins. If you just go and try to jump right into the spin, it's not going to give you much height or much movement. But if you go and try to fully utilize your tail, it's going to really let you pop up and get max control. Just by going and maximizing the time your board's making contact with the slope, you're able to go and get so much more power that'll let you go and get more control over your maneuvers and more height off your snowboard. Popping isn't just any one thing. You can do it on a full range of motion. Your full range of motion is used, so what your pop looks like is going to vary. But you want to make sure you're not coming in too crouched down, because that's going to make it so it's tough to explode. A smaller motion is easier to predict and easier to control, so we're trying to use the biggest motion we can while staying powerful and making sure to get that full snap off the lip, because that's going to actually bring our legs up to us, giving us that extra bit of height, control that lets us grab. It's really important to not try to rush into your grab. Let it come up to you, because this lets you go and see if you're in control. So if I'm grabbing and popping up and I'm in control, then I'm hitting the grab. I don't want to try rush this motion, because that's going to make it tougher. If I try to rush into like a nose grab, it's going to make me land very tail heavy. So go focus on getting your comfortable range of motion, max pop, then hitting the grab, and that will give you the max control and power off to every pop. And if you want more, you can always ollie in order to get that little extra bit of snap off your board. You can ollie off of any jumps, it's just hard to time and hard to control, and that's generally why we use pop while snowboarding. So give it a go, try it out, because it's going to really increase your control and power off every single feature in the park.